South Carolina's Low Country, known for its coastal waterways and salt marshes, part of the Deep South. A century ago, plantations and cotton farms sprinkled the landscape. Now a bustling spot for tourists attracted to the historic cities of Charleston and Savannah. In the southeast corner of the state, we find Hampton, home to less than 3,000 people, a small community where everyone knows everyone.
We have a watermelon festival once a year, and other than that, we don't do anything.
And everyone knows Alec Murdaugh.
The heir to one of the biggest names in South Carolina.
A family with legal roots dating back as old as the county itself. So much so, it's known by some as Murdaugh County. Randolph Murdaugh Sr. became solicitor, a role similar to a district attorney. He was succeeded by his son, Randolph Buster Murdaugh Jr., in 1940, and then his grandson, Randolph Murdaugh III. What is the reputation of this family, this dynasty?
Ruthless, obviously not afraid to use the power that they'd amassed.
And then there's Alec.
Didn't have quite the same reputation as some of his predecessors, known to be a little bit lazy.
The patriarch of a picture-perfect family, until...
County 911, where's your emergency?
I think the police should answer immediately.
June 7th, 2021.
My wife and child got badly.
This 911 call made by Alec at 10:07 at night sends first responders to the family's Moselle estate, a 1,700-acre hunting property tucked away in a rural area.
We know that they were together. They were apparently laughing. There was nothing out of the ordinary. However, within 15 minutes, both Maggie and Paul had been brutally murdered. According to court documents, Alec's wife, Maggie Murdaugh, was shot multiple times with a high-powered rifle, including in the back of the head while she was lying face down on the ground. Their 22-year-old son, Paul, was killed with a shotgun, struck in the head and chest. He was a person of interest from the very beginning. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, or SLED, was tasked with investigating the murders. About that same time, the rest of Alec Murdaugh's world started to unravel with another call to 911.
I got a flat tire, and I stopped, and somebody stopped to help me. And when I turned my back, they tried to shoot me. The initial report was that a vehicle was passing by, saw Alec Murdaugh changing one of his tires, and took a shot at him.
Alec is taken to the hospital with a superficial gun wound.
We've been at every court hearing. I have yet to see it. Not directly disputing them, but I have not seen any evidence of that head wound. Days later, another bombshell connected to that roadside 911 call. Authorities say Alec hired a man, Curtis Smith, to kill him in exchange for an insurance payout for his surviving son, Buster.
We called them. They didn't know about Curtis Smith. We called them and gave them the entire story, his identity, his phone numbers, all of it.
Curtis has a different story.
He said if I was going to shoot him, he'd be dead. It's just another one of the crazy components of this Southern Gothic drama that just continues to unfold.
Not only did he not get the insurance money, but he's accused of embezzlement and fraud.
Nearly 100 counts of financial criminal activity, totaling nearly $10 million over the period of about a decade.
Stealing from clients in his legal practice. Alec resigned from the firm. Then days later, a 20-year addiction to opioids was revealed, and he went to rehab. Then on July 2022, more than a year after his wife and son were killed, Alec Murdaugh was arrested and charged with their deaths.
Forensic evidence was really what tied investigators to Alec Murdaugh as the top suspect in these killings. But that evidence has come into question over the last few weeks.
Prosecutors say it took Alec more than an hour to call 911. They point to blood splatter on his clothing. And some are questioning whether splatter or the article of clothing where it was potentially found has been damaged or even exists anymore.
You know, again, OJ had the glove that didn't fit. Down here in South Carolina, we've got the white shirt that you can't test anymore to see if it's got that evidence on it.
And they claim to have video of him at the crime scene and motive.
Its theory of motive is that Murdaugh committed these two murders to try to buy time for his financial downfall.
Ellick has pleaded not guilty. His defense attorneys say there is no DNA.
We're told he's going to flip that narrative and actually tell the jury that they're going to prove Alec Murdaugh didn't do it.
Now it all comes down to a jury and the battle of some of the best legal minds in the state.
I am told from sources that are very close to both the prosecution and the defense that we should expect some surprises. Basically the trial of the century here in South Carolina.
Shining a spotlight on the Low Country once again, and a man named Murdaugh, who's lived a life on the road of power and privilege that may have finally hit a dead end.
If you look at this thing, I've described it often as a multi-layered web of alleged criminality, and it all goes back to Alec Murdaugh at the center of it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.